is MH11004. Today, I want to present about the sensor temperature. Okay, sensor temperature is used to detect the temperature in the radiator. Okay, how the sensor is used? Temperature, when the water is hot, give to the sensor. Sensor will get a data from analog and give to ECU. After that, the ECU will convert to digital. Okay. The sensitivity for this sensor is when we put 2.5 volt, temperature can detect at the 77 derajat Celsius. This sensor is also to measure the hot temperature. When the hot temperature in the vehicle, that means the vehicle cannot perform in the high performance. After that, in industry engineering, the temperature we can relate it, or we can another sensor used in industry is the thermometer and thermocouple. Okay, first we must know where is the temperature sensor is put. You can see at the below of the radiator. Before we want to change the sensor, we must open the drain nut. After that, we must open the radiator cap. After that, the water or the coolant in the radiator will go out. After that, we must take out the sensor from the radiator and change the radiator. Okay. At this sensor, we must put a few white tape to make sure that the water cannot go out from the radiator. And we put back. After that, we put a back drain nut and we refill the water. Okay, we refill the water until the fan is moved 2 or 3 times. Okay, after that the sensor will function again.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syaheer bin Sahidan. My metric number is MA11001. So today I'm going to share with you about thermocouple. Basically, thermocouple, as we know, the word thermo actually presence of temperature. So thermocouple today is a measuring tools that we measure heat or cold. But in the present day, we all use thermocouple in many various things. For example, the aircon, in aeroplane, also in the jet, also we use thermocouple to send the presence of heat to make sure the heat in the suitable range. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna explain to you about my little bit of experiment to prove that thermocouple actually is a two metal that combine and will produce some voltage. So as you can see this, first of all, this is my apparatus. So this is you can see it, the red wire is the copper that presents of the negative charge. The white one is the iron that presents of the positive charge. If the two positive and negative are combined, so they will produce a little bit of amount of voltage. So if one metal only, they cannot produce a voltage. So I'm gonna prove it to you by using the multimeter here. As you can see, multimeter here. I'm gonna set it to 200 millivolt, for example. So I'm gonna prove to you. But before that, I'm gonna show you about this table. You can see here this table. So they have many type of thermocouple. For example, B, C, E, J, K, and so on. Because these have been standardized by the researchers from the previous experiment they have do it. So today I'm gonna do a type J one that consists of copper and iron. So you can see here, that 200 to 1400 of Fahrenheit, for degrees Celsius 95 to 1260 degrees Celsius. So as I'm gonna prove it to you, you can see that I'm gonna use a lighter to heat up the thermocouple. You can see here, when I heat up the thermocouple, you can see the reading is gonna rise up. You can see that. Okay. When I heat up the thermocouple, it will rise up. Okay. When I turn off the lighter, you can see it's slowly going down. Okay. Okay. When I heat up again, it's gonna rise up again. You see that? This is the difference of the thermocouple. So when I put it down, it's gonna rise, lowering down the voltage. Not this. This is not the temperature, but a voltage. So this is a present of voltage. Okay. Okay. That's all from me. I hope you can understand what I'm gonna explain to you about the thermocouple. I hope you enjoy. Thank you very much.
My name is Aizad bin Jamil from the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering, and for my measurement and instrumentation lab project, I will explain and I will talk about a little bit about strain gauge sensor. Okay, this is an object that we attach with a strain gauge sensor. This is the strain gauge sensor, and the strain gauge sensor consists of coil, metallic coil. The material that used to make this coil is constated. The common material that we use to make this strain gauge sensor. Strain gauge sensor is a device that is used to measure the strain of an object. Most common strain gauge that consists of an insulating flexible backing with support, which support a metallic flat pattern. Which is the metallic flat pattern that I said just now is a coil inside the strain gauge, and the gauge is attached to the object by a suitable adhesive such as cyanoacrylate. Okay, the working principle of the strain gauge. Okay, first, once we attach the strain gauge on the clean surface or flat surface of any object that we want to calculate the pressure, we attach here, and then the object we mount on this water flow. We mount just like this, and how we calculate the pressure of the water. Okay, once we attach the object and also with the strain gauge, we open the valve and we let the water flow into the pipe, and water also get through in the object into the empty hollow area in the object, and after the water get flow into the pipe and also water get into this hollow area, the water will hit the bottom of this object, and also, when it hit the bottom object, also the upper surface of the object will occur some small deformation, and automatically it will deform the strain gauge coil. And when it deform the strain gauge coil will deform and become more longer and skinner. When it become more longer and skinner, the resistance of the strain gauge will become higher, and the electrical resistance value will become higher. When the electrical resistance of the strain gauge change and become increased, and we also causing the electrical flow in the circuit, in the bridge circuit, in the strain gauge will also change, and the changes of electrical resistance will send to the electronic unit in the form of electrical signal, and then the electronic unit will convert the electrical signal into the pressure value. Follow the calibration that we set before we run the experiment. Okay, before I forgot, the sensitivity of the strain gauge that we use in this lab, this fluid mechanics lab, is about 2.11 according to the meter that we used to make this strain gauge coil. The material that we used to make this this changes coil is the name of constanton. Okay, the application of this changes in this lab is to calculate the pressure of water that flow in the pipe, and the application for any nursery, for example, they have use in aircraft development. Okay, that's all for me. It's a little bit of explanation about strain gauge from my project, and that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Bakar. And now I will present about the sensor. This is the flow sensor. Okay, this is the example of the project that used example of instrument that used the flow sensor. Okay, this is a flow sensor. Okay, inside this we have an impeller or turbine blade. Okay, and it's a sensor. The sensor coil. There's a wire. The wire transmit the voltage signal to the relay. Okay. Now I will explain more details about this sensor. Okay, now I will explain more detail about the flow sensor. Okay, as you can see, this is the picture of the cross section of the flow sensor. Okay, here is the blade, and it is the sensor coil, sensor, pickup sensor. Okay, this blade is made up from ferrite metal. Okay, ferrite metal is the metal that have a magnetic energy. Okay, we also call it as this blade, we also call it as ferromagnetic blade. Okay. Okay, the principal working of this sensor, flow sensor, is when the water enter this from the inlet of the sensor, and then after the water pass through the blade, and the blade will rotate. Okay, the blade, when the blades rotate, at the top of the blade will will give the magnetic field, will produce the magnetic field at the sensor coil. And okay, every rotation will produce a voltage pulse. Okay, when the blade is passing by the sensor, it will generate a voltage pulse. Okay, the voltage is actually in a small volume. Also the reading will read maybe a millivolt. Okay, the voltage pulse is equal in frequency to the number of blades passing by for each second. Okay, the voltage signal will transmit to the analog or to the reader, and then it will convert it to discrete signal. Okay, and to form the frequency wave. Okay, the wave that produced from this signal is a sinusoidal wave. Okay, the frequency of this signal is represented as the fluid velocity. Okay, when the impeller or the blades rotate, it count the velocity of this fluid. Okay, I think that's all from me. I hope my explanation is clear and understand. Okay, thank you.
Assalamualaikum, and my name is Nur Naqaie Yuddin bin Adzhar, MH 11010. Okay, today I want to describe about the lambda sensor or the auto sensor for automotive industry. Okay, the lambda sensor, how they convert the signal. Say, the function of the lambda sensor is to detect the oxygen and others like carbon dioxide or from the exhaust manifold. Okay, the position is the from the exhaust manifold. Okay, the convert of the mechanism is most sensor involved in chemical reaction, generate a voltage, and then compute the load the voltage determine the mixture reach or lean of the mixture in this engine. Okay, how the signal is analyzed is the sensor element in this sensor is a ceramic cylinder plate inside this and platinum electrode, where they protected by the metal gas. Okay, it's operate measuring and different oxygen between the exhaust gas and internal air. Okay, the sensitivity of this oxygen sensor is when the lean mixture there is a 4% about the 4% of oxygen, so they generate the voltage, the small voltage of 100 millivolts. Okay, the normal or ideal mixture on the 14:7 or 1 ratio, where the 1% of oxygen operate will produce the 450 millivolts, and the rich mixture is the 0% oxygen removed of the 900 millivolts. Okay, that is the sensitivity of the sensor. Okay, about the application of the sensor. Application of the sensor can be used on the diving, where the person will detect the oxygen amount of oxygen on his mask, and when the soil, you can detect the amount of oxygen and carbon. Okay, the position of this sensor is on the exhaust manifold of the car, most of the car. So I detect the mixture on the gas produced from exhaust, and they detect and convert into voltage to the ECU. Okay, that's all for me.